I should not have accepted that drink. Saya no Uta is the frantic brain impulse of a 6-year-old child choking to death on undercooked lasagna. Well known for its body positivity and sensitive depictions of alternative family structures. Imagine it. The floor is meat, the walls are meat, your friends are meat that slap together flesh to produce a sound that approximates human speech. When you go to bed, you pull a thick carpet of wriggling follicles to your chin and lay back feeling the pulse and gurgle of the world, as if you'd been a sekai to the Netflix adaptation of Cells at Work. Now, here in the HR Giga cinematic universe, where the phrase meat spin has taken on a whole new meaning, you finally see a person. A girl entirely unfazed and untouched by the cacophony of pulsating flesh. A girl you only ever see at night, only ever talks to you, seems blissfully naive about everything, and says enough sus lines to have her thrown from the ship without trial. But let's take a step back before we wade into her intestinal tract. Or worse, upload a color wash picture with her to YouTube synced to just the two of us. Saya no Uta, or The Song of Saya, is a visual novel, the modern incarnation of a choose-your-own-adventure book, only the choices involve significantly more women in various states of undress. Fortunately, it has no anime to review, as such a thing would certainly lead to the degeneration of the human species as a whole, as the Vor Fetish Collective ascends to euphoric godhood. Our story follows Fuminori.
Hi there, my name is Fuminori, and today we are pranking my parents by cutting their brake lines.
A med student who has recently recovered from a traumatic brain injury. What he has declined to tell his doctors, psychologists, and friends is that his perception of the world has somewhat changed.
The vomit drawer is a very normal thing, alright?
Now, stuck in a world of sloppy meat monsters with a fundamental break in their sense of hygiene,
I hope this doesn't awaken anything in me.
he attempts to move on, logically knowing it's all fake, but struggling to maintain a facade of normality. Then, along comes...
Hey babe, who are we having for lunch?
Written and released in 2003 by Gen Urobuchi, also known as the Urobucha, for his wonderful contributions to anime girl suffering. The writer of Madoka Magica, Psychopaths, and Sword Puppets, Mr. Butcher has a morbid fascination with death, utilitarianism, and, apparently, the unspeakable abominations that lurk in the corner of our eyes.
Wanna see something cool?
Remember to smash like, subscribe, and provide communion to our growing cult. As herald for those beyond the veil, I can confidently say the old ones will spare us. Though, before we continue, we're going to do things a bit differently this time around. Go play it. I fully endorse Say No Uta is worth your time, but with perhaps the largest asterisks I can possibly manage. If you're into HP Lovecraft, body horror, and have 4 hours to burn, I can highly recommend it. Yet, if you find yourself put off by any of the above, or don't wish to live a life of recurrent nightmares, where your only solace is the comforting weight of a gun loaded with a single bullet, then stick around and learn a bit more. Shinji, get into the... The art of Say No Uta is wonderfully wrong. What? While a somewhat typical anime style is there, it's often slightly off. And the times it's played even mildly straight, the eerie juxtaposition with the story elements around it only serve to heighten the sense of unease, of wrongness. The backgrounds are almost a bigger focus than the characters themselves. The mind-melting surfaces we see through Fuminori's eyes are grotesque parodies of the normal world. The people mounds of pulsating tumours, trudging through some unnamed level of Dante's Inferno. But not Saya. Saya is different. And this makes her all the more terrifying. It's not a new trope, having one flower blooming in a field of corpses, reflecting horror in its perfection, but Saya takes the concept to an entirely new level. Everything she does, no matter how innocent or normal, is undercut with the knowledge of her wrongness. Each time you see her, watch her interact, your gut twists and squirms uncomfortably. It's perfect. By the way, this game is most definitely not family friendly, so take account of that. Saya no Uta's soundtrack is based around the concept of standing at the edge of a party at the age of 13.
This is exactly the kind of trouble I just love to get into.
In a part of town you've never been before, where your older cousin who dragged you out, promising his rare Blastoise in return, has gone missing. Naturally, the trains have stopped running, and Mum isn't picking up. In short, it's a dread that curls your toes and thrums at the base of your skull. It's a wide spectrum of sounds, some of which I'm convinced were transcribed directly from the Zodiac Killer's letters. But the absolute standout is, naturally, Saya's personal theme. Sin. A lullaby not designed for human ears, and it fits her like a glove. It's a song that makes the hairs on your neck stand, and feeds your paranoia for dark shapes in hallways. I'd compare it with Higurashi's OST in some specific respects, with the heavy use of eerie, hymn-like vocals. There are vanishingly few games or anime that reach this level of thematic brilliance through music, particularly in reference to the horror of the unknown, perhaps being the hardest to pull off well. Though, excellent sound mixing alone is never enough. 90% of H.P. Lovecraft-inspired stories are, oh wow, there are fish people in the lake. Huh, that's crazy, man. And so am I. Saya no Uta is what developers of shovelware Cthulhu games wish they were, with a fraction of the budget. Unlike the imposters, Song of Saya actually cares about perhaps the most important elements of Lovecraftian horror. A carefully constructed build-up and the fear of something beyond human understanding. These two elements are wrapped up perfectly in the bow that is Saya. Each step closer, every new reveal or bit of information only sinks you further into her mire. Unable to look away, but terrified of knowing the truth. Something our protagonist is apparently more than happy to ignore.
From my point of view,
Saya is cute AF.
well then you are lost!
Fuminori himself is no heroic character, his actions anything but. Yet, even has his depravity and sanity slipped, drawing him further into Saya, into the comfort and normal she provided. I found I understood him. To a point.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
Humans are naturally products of their surroundings. We crave repetition and familiarity, and Fuminori's senses reflected neither, with a notable exception. There are 3 distinct endings for Saya no Uta, based on a small set of choices made from the perspectives of different characters towards the end of the story. When the first option showed up, my unreasonably young self, froze. No. Neither expecting nor wanting the responsibility of agency. So invested, so completely within the mind space of the game, I was utterly terrified by the mere act of choosing.
Stop it. Get some help.
I ended up shelving the game for an entire month. I can't say much more than this, as the game is extremely short, particularly for a visual novel, at only 4 hours long. Its pacing, however, is excellent, and the theoretical edge of my seat might as well have broken off. Yet be assured that answers, desired or not, will come. Oh, and the Americans made some weird comic version.
Look how they massacred my boy.
Naturally, it sucks. Moving on. You know what I think, and any further consideration is mostly your own. Horror itself tends to be hit or miss, and Saya is no exception. While it smacked me with an overwhelming sense of dread, only comparable to that of running down a steep hill with a blindfold on, this is no guarantee for others. Saya no Uta is not a particularly new idea conceptually, but its execution is exceptional. A Lovecraftian romance with each raw and horrific implication explored. As a kid, it truly terrified me. And Saya is most certainly a love story, one that speaks to madness, to the mind-warping powers of perception, and the dangers of a deranged love. Fuminori is a broken man, reforged into something so much worse. But he is still just a man. In anime, often this average guy is used to draw the reader in, to fool them into the giddy daydream that they too could become the hero, could be anything, have anything they ever wanted. And Saya no Uta agrees. You can be anything, have anything, and become anyone. For always remember, as you gaze into the abyss, so does the abyss gaze into you. A bit more bite-sized than usual this time around, but that's just how it shaked out. Saya is certainly a hard one to talk about for a number of reasons, and even harder to recommend. But god damn it if our little Lovecraftian mind break doesn't deserve it. Be sure to follow me on Twitter to increase my dread influence, or just give me enough screaming power for when YouTube inevitably bonks me. I also have Patreon now, so head over there if you'd like to support my schizoid takes on anime. I don't know if I deserve it, but I certainly appreciate it. Many thanks to Maxwell for lending his voice to Fuminori. Same for Kirsha, who was excellent as the voice of Saya. They both put out quality stuff, so go check them out. I'll link them below. So, comments from last time. Really good review. It's super wholesome to see Max or inspire others. Do check him out, as well as Seth and Mandalore, who are also massive inspirations for me. I've been playing Girls Front Line for quite some time, and I've always wanted someone to talk to about the story and gameplay, but your video makes me feel like I've finally had that conversation. That's a suffering I personally know all too well. I'm glad I could be that conversation for you. I can safely say your editing is helping to contribute to my ADHD. Keep up the good work. Glad I could help. Now let's aim for the rest of the alphabet. Alright, next time we'll be switching up my content and discussing why you should be eating the uranium-241 contained within your smoke detector.